Have you ever wondered how much extra pension you could buy in the armed forces? This new calculator is here to help. Let's check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Savvy Squaddie. In this short video, I'm going to cover the recently released added pension calculator. Now, the way our armed forces pension works is that we do not pay a penny towards it. It's one of the amazing benefits. However, you can contribute towards it if you wish. This is known as added pension, and I have done a very in-depth video covering it all, which I will link below. This video will focus on the calculator itself and won't be a detailed explanation of added pension. Before the release of the calculator, it was very difficult to work out how much additional pension your contributions would buy. This makes it a lot simpler to see whether it's worth doing. Keep in mind that added pension is tax efficient. If paying monthly, it is taken from your pre-tax pay, meaning you reduce the amount of income liable to tax. If you purchase it via a one-off lump sum, you'll need to submit a self-assessment to receive a tax refund. The calculator can be found on the Armed Forces pension page on the Gov website, a very handy page with a ton of useful information. Once you click on the link, you'll be greeted by this disclaimer page. It pretty much says that it's for guidance and illustrative purposes only. Once you've read it, check the box and continue. It's a very simple single-page website. The headings along the top link to specific sections on the same webpage. The introduction states that the calculator can be used to illustrate the contributions you need to pay to receive a specified amount of added pension, or the added pension you would receive for a specified amount of contributions. I'll explain that a bit more when we get onto that part. It's also important to keep in mind that this is a general calculator and does not allow you to input very specific information based on your own circumstances. So, what are the required inputs? Well, the first two should be fairly simple. They are your date of birth and the date you joined the regular armed forces. You can still buy added pension if you're a reservist, but this calculator might not be totally accurate. Submit an AFPS Form 6 to request a quote specific to your circumstances. The third input option is the date you would like added pension contract to start. And this is important to remember. The contract runs for 12 months, from the 1st of April to the 31st of March the following year. Should you enter a contract in July, for example, then it will end in the following March. It does not run 12 months from when your contract starts. Once you've decided on the date, time for you to pick which type of added pension you would like to buy. There are two kinds, member only and member and dependents. Member only means that the added pension that you buy affects just your pension, and once you kick the bucket, those additions you purchased are not passed on to your dependents, which is then where the second option comes in. Once you die, your dependents will benefit from the added pension you have purchased. However, you will pay more for the members and dependents option than the member only option. For this example, I'll choose member only because my family are going to be squared enough when I die, they don't need any more. Under this is where you then select what you want to calculate. There are three options here. If you select added pension amount, you will then need to choose between paying via a lump sum or monthly payments, and then how much you want that payment or payments to be. Just keep in mind that the minimum payment for the year is £300. If paying via monthly payments, divide that by the number of months your contract will be for to see the minimum monthly amount. For a full 12-month contract, that would be £25 per month. With this option, the number it spits out is the amount of extra annual pension that your contributions have purchased. Using the minimum £25 per month contribution, we can see that the amount of added pension purchased is £18.12. Now, that is not per day or month, that is per year. So, for example, let's say my pension at retirement is £20,000. I will be paid that for life. But thanks for that 1 year of added pension I did way back when, my annual pension will now be a whopping £20,018.12 per year for life. It is important to note that added pension will also increase your EDP benefits, but I go into a lot more detail on that aspect in the in-depth video. So, the added pension amount option will show us how much added pension our contributions will buy us. But what if we want to know how much a set amount of added pension would cost us in contributions? Well, that is where the other two options come in. If I select lump sum payment, it will now ask how much added pension do I want to receive. and the number it spits out at the end is the amount I would have to pay to purchase that extra amount of annual pension. So for this example, let's say I would like to have an additional £100 per year of added pension for life once the pension becomes payable. Well, in that case, it would cost me around £1,600 via a lump sum payment. You can see, to increase your annual pension by any meaningful amount requires a lot of personal contributions. But is there a maximum amount of added pension that can be purchased? There is, and as of the 1st of April 2024, it currently sits at £8,571.21p, but this does increase every so often. This is not maximum contributions, this is the maximum I can increase my annual pension for life by. So instead of a £20,000 per year pension, I would have a £28,571.21p annual pension for life if I was able to buy the maximum amount. So let's say I've aspired to max out my added pension amount and I've got 15 years left and intend on doing a contract every year. Well, that would mean I would need to purchase £572 of added pension per year, assuming of course that the amount doesn't increase. Using the calculator and the monthly payment option, we can see that I would have to pay almost £800 per month to achieve this. Obviously, this is just a guide and the amount might change a bit with each contract renewal, but it helps highlight how much you would need to pay. Over 15 years, my total personal contribution would be around £142,000. When tax relief and the amount it would increase the EDP is factored in, this number seems less scary, to be fair. Anyway, once you've played around with the calculator, you are still required to submit an AFPS Form 6 and 6 Alpha should you want an accurate quote and to go ahead with the contract purchase. Contact information for the Joint Personnel Administration Centre or JPAC can be found here too, and at the bottom are the terms and conditions of the calculator. All in all, a handy tool to help illustrate added pension. Personally, I still don't do this, I invest my money instead. That's not to say I won't do it in the future, but for me, at the moment, it's not worth it. Ensure whatever decision you make that it's an informed one. Check out my in-depth video on added pension. It's a long one, but it will answer many questions that you might have. There is also nothing stopping you from buying added pension, investing using a SIP, and a stocks and shares ISA. The more sources of income you have in retirement, the better. Will you use this calculator? Do you purchase added pension? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. If you liked what you just saw, please hit the subscribe button up there, and if you want to see some more videos, click over there. See you soon.